guys, Charles Damiano here from the Bruce Lee Collection. Today I have the pleasure of sitting here with Sifu Richard Torres and my good friend Hector Martinez, who you've seen on a previous episode. Today we're going to focus on Richard Torres, and he's going to talk about how he got inspired by Bruce Lee, and we're going to talk about his massive collection. Hector and I just walked through his apartment, his house here in New York City, and he has one of the biggest Bruce Lee collections that I've ever seen. So I'm excited to share this with you guys, because you guys are going to be blown away when we actually start walking through his 3 rooms of Bruce Lee Collectibles. But first we're going to get a chance to meet Richard Torres, find out a little bit about him, how he got started in collecting, how Bruce Lee impacted his life and inspired him. So Richard, thank you first of all for inviting us into your New York City home. Richard! Hector and I were really excited driving up here today to come see you because I heard so much about your collection. So why don't you tell me how you first got started and how you were influenced by Bruce Lee and when and how it all started for you, because we all got inspired in different ways.
Well, the whole thing is when I saw Bruce on screen, you know, here you see a human being that took his whole life, his whole body to the maximum.
Yes.
And you wanted to know more about him. And especially me, I had a martial arts background already because I had done karate, jiu-jitsu, and some kung fu already. And looking at Bruce Lee on screen, I wanted to know more about him and how he got so good as a martial artist. And then I realized he had a martial art called Jeet Kune Do, which then really set me on a quest to try to figure out what this Jeet Kune Do was all about.
What is this thing you do?
In Cantonese, Jeet Kune Do, the way of the intercepting fist.
Intercepting fist, huh?
Or foot. Come on, touch me. Any way you can. To reach me, you must move to me. Your attack offers me an opportunity to intercept you. In this case, I'm using my longest weapon, my sidekick, against the nearest target, your kneecap. This can be compared to your left jab in boxing, except it's much more damaging.
I see. Well, speaking of a left jab...
Oh, this time I intercept your emotional tenseness. You see, from your thought to your fist, how much time was lost.
So I started researching Jeet Kune Do, started buying any books and magazines that were out there, and there wasn't too much, not back in 74, 75.
So that's when you started, back in 74, 73?
Well, 73 basically is when I really started searching on Bruce Lee and his Jeet Kune Do.
Yeah.
Wow. But
what inspired you to start searching for that? Like, what was the catalyst back then? What got you where you go, I got to search about this guy and search this guy?
Well, you know, I followed Bruce in the Green Hornet.
Okay.
As Kato.
Kind of similar to you, Hector.
Yeah. Back in 1966.
There are many legendary figures of evil in the Orient. Some people say they are often driven back to action by their own malevolence.
He is back. The legendary Bruce Lee as Kato, the Green Hornet's trusted sidekick. Masked menace of the martial arts. If you're looking for action, he's the one to find it. Bruce Lee is Kato in The Green Hornet.
And then, of course, when I heard he was going to be in Longstreet, I actually recorded on audio because there was no VCRs then.
Yes.
Amazing, huh?
Way back then. So I took a cassette player, audio cassette player, and I recorded the whole Longstreet episode, and I still have that cassette.
You still have it, huh?
Yeah. So I was already inspired by him. Mm-hmm. He hadn't even made movies yet in Hong Kong. And that was the Way the Intercepting Fist.
Yeah. If I could just stop you a second. I remember when I was a kid, and I saw that for the first time. I think I was, 12 years old, and I saw him on Longstreet for the first time, and I was sitting on my 12th Street and Avenue A apartment in Lower East Side. And at the time, it was so deep, I didn't really even quite get what he was talking about. I got so inspired to learn what he was meaning by the statements he was saying in Longstreet, because that's where he used all those profound statements, right? Where he introduced for the first time.
I have the script over here.
Yeah,
the Longstreet script.
I mean, it's actually
you.
no. I mean, it was actually filmed in '71.
Yes.
So I mean, here I am. I'm actually 10 years old. I was born in '61. So as a 10-year-old guy, a 10-year-old boy, you don't understand this type of philosophy. I mean, empty your mind.
Yeah, and discover the cause of your own ignorance. When he told it to James Francis, I didn't even know what he was talking about at the time.
Indeed.
Lee, I want you to teach me what you did the other night.
I already told Miss Bell I can't.
I'm willing to empty my cup in order to taste your tea.
Your open-mindedness is cool, but it doesn't change anything. I don't believe in system, Mr. Longstreet, nor in method. Now, without system, without method, what's to teach?
But you had to learn. You weren't born knowing how to take apart 3 men in a matter of seconds.
True, but I found the cause of my ignorance.
Well, help me find mine.
If you try to remember, you will lose. Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now, you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. Put it into a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now, water can flow or creep or drip or crash. Be water, my friend.
So
You know,
at this time.
I had this small little black and white TV because everything, it wasn't cable back
Yeah.
then. And it had a earphone jack. So I devised this earphone jack to go from the earphone jack into my cassette recorder to input, and I recorded the whole thing. In fact, I recorded all the Longstreets that came out
Amazing.
on audio. So I was already a big fan. My friends and I were already talking about it. You know,
Yeah.
wow, did you see? We called him Kato. We never called him Bruce Lee. At that time. Did you see Kato in Longstreet? He was amazing. You know, and then I would replay the audio tape and replay it until I try to understand what he was saying and say, oh, I got it.
Yeah.
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 So that was probably my first collectible was that Longstreet audio tape that I made myself.
Yeah.
And,
Wow.
and I like to this day I still have it. But who would have imagined that we would have VCRs or cable or anything like that we could see? You could actually buy a movie and
You can buy this
like
stuff
that.
now, yeah. Blu-ray, 4K.
But Longstreet was Green Hornet was the big thing with Kato, and then when I saw him in Longstreet, it was like,
Yeah.
wow, this guy has something to offer.
And why do you think he made such a big impact on you at such an early age? Like, why do you think that is? I mean, he impacted so many people's lives. Why do you think that was that happened? Why
Well,
was he so
I think
special to do
for
that?
me it was because I was already into martial arts.
Okay.
And he was somebody who really had it together as a martial artist. You know, I mean, you think of a martial artist and you saw Bruce Lee, how he didn't just have the physical, but he had the philosophical.
Yeah.
You know, and in the movie you see him talking about the philosophy, and it kind of took you to that direction of, wow, it's more than just punching and kicking. Now there's something philosophical about it.
Yeah.
Of how to get yourself almost enlightened, which is something you think about. Can this bring me enlightenment? If I can do this and continue with it.
Yeah. I mean, he inspired so many people in so many different ways, right? Like, I look back on it, he inspired me to work out and get into physical fitness, and I studied some JKD, some Wing Chun, and obviously you were inspired, and you're actually a full-fledged JKD instructor now,
Yes.
right? For many years now, and so that was one way I guess he inspired you. Besides the whole collecting thing, you took on the whole and you made a living out of that, right?
Yes, I have a martial arts school, a Jeet Kune Do school actually, and I teach it full time. So, but of course, I never knew what I was doing then would lead to this,
Yeah.
So almost Bruce Lee's own words, right?
That's, yeah.
So I mean, you start collecting on Bruce, and after a while, at the beginning it was the books and the researching, and then after a while it may be a figure, and then suddenly a photograph, and before you know it, now you're looking for anything that has Bruce Lee on it. Before you know, you have a collection.
A museum.
So this collection has
Richard has
This isn't a collection. This is a museum.
this has been since the 70s, I think.
So you've been collecting since the early 70s.
Oh yeah.
And back then, me and Hector was talking about this in another interview. It was so hard to find things back then.
Yeah, there was
where
no
did you-
eBay.
There was no eBay. So
No
where
eBay.
did you find some of your early collectibles, and what were some of those that you found back then? And where did you used to go? What were your favorite
Well,
spots?
the big thing was, of course, now that Kung Fu was big back in the 70s, everybody, as kids, we all went to Chinatown.
Yeah.
Right.
And now
yeah.
now all the Chinese had everybody's respect. So you saw it in China. You thought the old man walking might be a man of wisdom or something. In Chinatown. I mean that's what we thought in those days. Because.
Right.
So I went to Chinatown, and of course we had a booklet Thai who had so much stuff.
Buckley Ted on Canal Street.
coming from Hong Kong. so we were fortunate for that. We had that, and then of course I found out about Jerry Ollinger's down the village in 4th Street.
May he rest in peace.
You just visited him recently, right? And he passed away.
passed
You
away.
found out
Yeah.
from his store.
Jerry passed away about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think we all started at that store.
So every time I would drive down there with my wife, and I'd have her, because there was never parking there, I'd have her wait in the car, and I'd go into Jerry's,
Yeah.
and he'd bring out the binders, the 8x10s.
Photos.
Famous cigar.
Yeah. And he actually sold me the trailers of the movies.
Yeah.
Oh, right,
He had the
right.
little trailers in Super 8.
Unbelievable. He's Bruce Lee, the master of karate, kung fu, delivering that Chinese connection. Rated R.
You still have those trailers?
Oh, I still
yeah,
have
same
them.
here.
Trailers,
Those
yeah.
are the first trailers
And
I
again,
purchased from him.
Who would have thought that they would be a VCR?
A VCR, yeah.
So we bought the trailers without a projector, and then you buy the projector later. So I had that from Jerry Ollinger's. So yeah, and of course going to school. At that time I was going to high school, and I would always go to the newsstand.
Yeah.
To see what was out there. Mm-hmm. And
it's funny, you made that a habit after a while. It was almost like an addiction. You had to go look at every week I would check the newsstand to see if there was a new magazine that was coming. Because at one point, every week they were putting out magazines with Bruce on the cover.
Yeah, true.
And it conditioned me to go check out the newsstands, because that's where you found things back then, right?
in fact, I have one of the first magazines. I think it's back there.
Oh, really?
In that little box there.
Oh, okay. We'll go look at that as we walk through your collection.
And,
Which one was that? You remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get it. I'm sorry, we're gonna get off the camera for a second.
Let's see what this first magazine was that you had.
Right here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Remember those?
George Lee did. No,
I love that.
was it James Lee?
James Lee,
James
but it
Lee,
wasn't
yeah.
James Lee from Oakland.
No, right.
Another James Lee.
Yeah.
But here, going to school, and this is just hanging in a newsstand like this, and you go,
I remember
and they had a
that.
poster
It had
inside.
the poster inside.
That's awesome, bro.
Yeah,
And then, of course, Kung Fu Monthly started coming out. Number 1, number 2.
I'm sure you have the entire collection.
Yeah.
entire collection.
The entire same
Every
thing.
month I will look to see, make sure that
This is issue number 1.
Yeah,
Yes.
and those open
Yep,
up to the
number
big
2,
posters
number 1.
inside,
Yes.
right?
So these
Yeah,
two things were one of the first because
Yeah, those early collectibles were great. I mean, I'm so prone to, lean towards the vintage collectibles.
The old
of the
school,
70s.
yeah.
I love
so
that
what
stuff.
happened is what happened? You just start getting addicted, and you start going to all the candy stores, all the newsstands,
Yeah.
and your eyes are just racing, looking to see if there's anything with Bruce Lee on it.
Yeah,
You're looking for your fix.
Yeah.
That's what it becomes.
And you start buying 1 thing, 2 things, 3 things before you know it.
Yeah, you've amassed. Yeah, this is it.
And back
I love this one.
Yeah, back in the late 70s, early 80s, you had 20 magazines. You thought you had a collection then,
Exactly.
You never thought you'd have the magazine collection that I have now.
Now,
right?
True.
5,000 magazines
It's
later.
like between both of you guys like bought the warehouse. It's like, me, I got like maybe 20 or 30 magazines. You guys bought the warehouse.
It's funny because Matthew Polly, the one who wrote the book,
Oh,
Bruce
yeah.
Lee, he said, Richard, if I would have seen your collection before I wrote the book, I could have written the book a whole lot. Because you have
that what
everything
he
here.
said?
All the research is here.
All the research is there.
So,
Wow, that's
yes.
fantastic.
So,
Wow.
Yeah, so this is how it started.
Yep,
These guys.
yep.
And
So
it's still
good
in mint
stuff, man.
condition.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I'll give you $20 each right now.
not for sale.
And then,
Not
so
too.
why did you continue collecting? Like, we were trying to talk about this, like, collectors just, they can't stop. It's like becomes an addiction after a while. And like, other people who don't collect, they don't quite understand collectors and what we see in all this memorabilia. Like, why did you continue collecting for so long? What do you still enjoy about collecting?
that you collect once you have 4, 5, 10, 20, 30, even that looks like a museum piece, you know, no matter what it is. You know, even people collect matchboxes, you know.
Rubber ducks.
Yeah, and no matter what, when you see them all together, it astonishes you.
It looks
you know?
good, yeah.
So I think having Bruce Lee, of course, you know, and seeing anything on Bruce Lee, you know, and back to back, close, you know, next to each other, and you see all that stuff, and you say to yourself, "Wow, this is really good. This is good stuff."
You
and you enjoy
pride.
it.
Yeah, you take pride
Yeah.
in owning it, and you enjoy it. Yeah, it really is.
And then, of course, you know, you think, how far can you go with this? You know, I mean, I remember watching Return of the Dragon, which was Way of the Dragon. We know that, but
Right.
And the first day it came out, in those days, movies came out on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
The first showing, and I remember going there to see the first showing of first screening of Way of the Dragon.
Way of the Dragon. Did you?
What could be more exciting than Bruce Lee in Enter the Dragon? Bruce Lee in Return of the Dragon. Yes, Bruce Lee is back, blazing his way from Hong Kong to hell in the all-new fantastic adventures of the superhero he created in Enter the Dragon. It's Lee, unleashed. Lee, unmarshaled. Lee, unmerciful. Against the dragon, even the best are better off dead. Bruce Lee gives his last and best performance in Return of the Dragon, rated R.
Mamma mia!
Boy, can we use him now.
I'm sorry, did you see it in New York City?
In New York City.
In New York, okay.
Yep.
You remember the theater you saw it
The
at?
War Theater in the Bronx.
The War Theater.
Westchester Avenue in the Bronx, yeah. And I'm buying my ticket, you know, the young kid, I want myself. And she tells me, the lady tells me, standing room only, there's no seats. I said, I don't care, I'm going in.
Yeah, I'm going in.
So I paid whatever it was at those days, $3 or $4. And I go in, and sure enough, the place was packed. And then I see this vending machine. You know, they have vending machines those days with canned soda.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
So I hop on top of the vending machine.
No way.
And there's a balcony, so I have to look like this at the movie. And then 2 other guys saw me on top, and they say, hey, that's a good idea. And they jumped on
And
me.
they did.
And we're looking at this movie, you know, and I mean, we're in a movie theater where there's like at least 500 people there or something, you know. And after the movie, I said, you know, I really want to pursue this, you know. But look, I'm just one out of, you know, I'm looking at all these people. I said, I'm just one out of 500 people. How can I possibly pursue Bruce Lee, his martial art, get to meet his wife, whatever? You know, it's like, you know, this young kid living in the city there. How
But
is
you
that
did it.
possible?
Yeah,
But I did it, yeah.
He that was the impact he had on your life, right?
It's amazing.
I met Linda Lee. I met Brandon Lee. I met Robert Lee. You know.
Now, where did you meet most of them? Was it at the banquets that they were holding at the time?
Yeah. 1990, I met Linda and Brandon. I was a special.
Oh, you actually met Brandon as well before
yeah.
he passed. Wow.
I'll show you what he
Oh,
autographed for
let's
me.
see that later. Okay.
I mean, who thought Brandon was going to pass away? But,
Right, yeah, of
But when I
course.
know, I mean, we're talking. Brandon and I talking like this.
Yeah.
I said, Brandon, sign this, sign this, sign this.
I would have brought a whole stack.
We're just talking, you know.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's funny. A funny story is that I want to talk to Brandon about his father, and he wants to talk to me about his mother.
About his mother, yeah.
He said, but isn't my mother great? I said, yeah, but your father. He goes, yeah, but my mother. You know,
Oh, it's
I go,
great.
okay, your
Yeah.
mother is great. You know,
That's beautiful.
So-
Well, it actually shows you how great he was.
As a person.
You know, because I mean, listen, if you honor your mother and your father, you know, that's one of the requirements that God has for us. When you show respect to your parents, I mean, that's beautiful. That's
Yeah,
a
that's
beautiful
character
then,
he had.
and then
Yeah.
yeah, when I was talking to Brandon, Linda comes
That's
along,
awesome, man.
and she tells me, Richard, Brandon is going to be more famous than Bruce. Mark my words.
Did she say that?
She told that to
Oh,
me.
wow, that's a great
And I
story.
said, Linda, I don't know. Bruce is a hard act to follow.
Yeah,
She goes,
yeah.
you'll see, you'll see. Unfortunately, you know.
May he rest in peace, man.
But who knows what he.
Yeah,
accomplished,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Hey, Brandon
Wow,
is a
but-
big star in my eyes.
But there's a story about
I love Brandon.
Yeah, that's great.
There's a story that I think it's Shannon tells or Linda, I forgot which of the two, that there was these, you know, Brandon was always Bruce Lee's son, and I remember she was saying that they were looking at a poster of Bruce Lee, and some kids were looking at the Bruce Lee poster and they're saying, "Look, that's Brandon Lee's father."
Oh, wow,
And she
okay.
went, finally,
Finally,
Brandon
Brandon's
Lee,
getting
yeah.
some recognition.
Who's that? Yeah.
Who's that? That's Brandon
That's
Lee's
Brandon
father.
Lee.
That's
And
awesome,
she
man.
she said, finally got it. You know?
Yeah.
Because Brandon was always fearful of being in the shadow of his dad, right?
But it
Even
was
when he
always-
trying
Brandon
to
was always
become an
Bruce Lee's
actor.
son.
That's it,
Yeah,
yeah.
Bruce Lee's son. So
And
he
then,
wanted to break
and then
free
she said
from
one
that.
day she was looking at a poster, and you know, there were some kids were looking at a Bruce Lee poster, and they said, "Look, that's Brandon Lee's father."
Brandon Lee's father, yeah.
So she kind of said,
I mean, Brandon, you know, Brandon was not like, you know, like his dad. I mean, you know, physically, fighting wise, you know, technique wise, but he was charismatic. He was a good looking kid.
the intellect too was there.
Yeah.
Bro, to me, Brandon
Smart.
he was beyond Van Damme. He was beyond Steven Seagal.
Seagal.
I mean, Brandon was my first. He was my top actor after Bruce Lee passed
Absolutely.
away. And then when Brandon passed away, sadly, on your birthday, Charlie,
Yeah,
March
March
the
31st.
31st. Bro, I mean,
Well,
Yeah.
I have no words.
when Brandon passed away, I have a story about that too. I used to teach in my garage now. That's where my first school was. Was in the garage, and I had picture frames of all the masters.
Right.
Higaro Kano for judo, you know, Yoshino
Yeah.
for aikido. So all of them were there, and Bruce Lee, of course, for Jeet Kune Do. So I must have had like 10 framed pictures of all the masters.
Yeah, yeah.
Japanese and the Chinese. Ip Man was there. And I come from work one day at 5 o'clock because I used to teach at 7. Open up my garage door, and the frame, one of the frames is on the ground, broken glass everywhere. And I go and I said, which one fell down? I look at it, it's the Bruce Lee one. And I said, of all the pictures, why did it have to be the Bruce Lee picture?
Bruce
Why couldn't it have
Lee.
been the other guy that fell down? You know, why did it have to be the Bruce Lee picture? You know, I was really upset. So then I go inside and my answering machine is blinking. At that time there was answering machines, remember?
Yeah.
So the answering machine is blinking, and I turn it on, and it's our friend Nick the Greek.
Oh, Nick, yeah. Wow.
And he's telling me, Richard, Brandon just got shot.
Ooh.
You know? And I said, what? And so then I must have been there like 5 minutes, and my phone is ringing off the hook. Everybody's calling me. Brandon got shot, Brandon. I put on the news. Talking about Brandon
until we
got
all
shot.
saw it.
So of course I get my blank tape and record. So I think I have all the newscasts of when Brandon got shot.
When he passed, yeah.
The son of late martial arts star Bruce Lee has died. 27-year-old Brandon Lee was killed during a movie set accident today. He was filming a scene for the movie The Crow when he was hit by a projectile fired from a gun loaded with blanks. According to producers, when a blank is fired, normally a piece of soft wadding comes out, not a projectile. Police are investigating but don't suspect foul play. You may remember his father, Bruce Lee, died mysteriously at 32 years old.
That's a surprising story.
But
He rest in peace.
That's a great story, yeah.
talking on the phone and everything, and then I realized it's 6:30. I gotta get ready. So I get ready. I come downstairs and it hits me. The pictures.
on
I
the
forgot
floor.
all about it.
Oh, wow.
The pictures that's broken and it's Bruce Lee laying flat on the ground like this.
And that's the day that you heard Brandon,
It was the same as
same day that he passed away.
That's a bit,
And
that's
a bit bizarre and
That's-
eerie.
isn't it?
sweeping the
Yeah.
glass.
Wow, that is a
Taking the
eerie
frame.
story there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then years later, I read about a guy that was a friend of Brandon's. This is years later, and he's talking about how he had a picture of Brandon on his desk. And the day that Brandon got shot, he said he came to his office and the picture was on the ground, broken to pieces.
Oh,
and
wow.
I told myself, holy cow, can that happen twice?
Wow.
Same day?
That is crazy.
That's nuts.
Let me ask you, did you throw away the frame?
The frame, yes, not the picture.
Yeah, naturally, but I actually would have saved the broken frame.
We think like
as
that
a memento.
later.
Yeah,
we don't think like that at the moment. Exactly. You know?
I mean, it's something that you're right, but being that I also been collecting for so long,
But
those little things I kind of hold on to.
But I ran to the newsstands the next day.
Yeah.
And of course, I just buy
Got
2
the
copies
papers.
of the newspaper, which I gave you one,
Right. Yeah.
and I took the other.
The post with the story on the cover.
Yeah. So, changing gears a little bit, I know we're talking a lot about Brandon. Bruce inspired so many of us. What do you think really made him so great and so special in the eyes of so many people? Like, what really stood out for you?
I think it's the whole idea of the discipline of mind with Bruce, because you look at all these movie stars. Because after Bruce Lee came out and Into the Dragon, you see him with a 6-pack and all like that.
Right.
You must attend the morning ritual in uniform. Outside.
Nobody would show their
Yeah,
physique,
Yeah.
unless they had a 6-pack now.
Are
Right?
you shooting from the below the?
Don't get
Don't get the guts.
So you would see after Bruce, everybody had to look all cut to be in the movies now, right?
You got to be fit,
But
bro.
but what happens? You see all these actors, they have to hire somebody, a fitness instructor to get them in shape. They hire a nutritionist to make the meals, the correct meals for them and so forth. But you look at Bruce Lee. He didn't have a fitness instructor.
No.
He didn't have a, he did it all
On his own.
All
through research.
by himself.
Yeah.
And you ask yourself, man, the discipline of mind that this man had to be able to, by yourself, because I tell my students, there's no Rocky music playing in the background when you're exercising.
Exactly.
And you're doing your, you're doing your 100 kicks. It's just 1, 2, it's not like
You're just doing what, 500 kicks and punches a day
Right.
to get to that level?
Exactly, and we watch the movie, and gonna fly, and you think, oh, but you're doing it on your own. It's as silent as this, and you just,
Richard, what's
he
interesting?
had that discipline of mind. He had that discipline.
Cool.
But you know what's interesting? What you just said, the boxers trained to the Rocky music, but Bruce Lee trained to Lalo Schifrin's Mission Impossible.
And Hawaii Five-0.
So
That's what he liked.
There you go.
Different things inspired
Bro, Bruce Lee
different
did
people.
it before everybody else.
Yes.
He trained to Lalo Schifrin's Mission Impossible.
That's why they say
Because,
he was so ahead of his time.
Yeah.
That's it.
That whole discipline of mind to be able to create yourself. So many people allow their environment to create them. And Bruce Lee created himself.
Yeah.
You think, oh, here's a man, a Chinese man. You think, what can a Chinese man do? Every Chinese man thinks, not now, of course, but back then, you were in the restaurant business or
Stereotypes.
yeah. And Bruce Lee said, no, I'm going to do what I want to do.
Right.
And he went out to change the world.
And now and made other people realize, you can go beyond your culture, beyond your nationality.
Absolutely.
And that was a big thing,
Yeah.
I mean, I have a paper where Bruce Lee writes, I'm not going to end up like these guys, meaning the waiters and all those guys and Ruby Childs.
Yeah.
Here he is, a young, 20-year-old kid. And he's saying, I'm not going to end up like these guys. I'm going to go beyond them, So
Yeah.
So already they were trying not they, but society was trying to mold him into being the stereotype Chinese guy from Hong Kong, and he's already saying, not me, I'll be out of here soon,
Such a motivational figure, man.
Few people know that, he was a busboy. Busboy means that he was sweeping the floors, washing the dishes.
Cleaning the toilet.
So here he is at nighttime, people bowing to him, calling him, Sifu. And he's teaching them, and everybody's thank you, so forth. Then he has to go back to this place and wash the dishes, sweep the floor. So it's kind of a yin and yang kind of existence that he had.
Yeah.
He was one thing to his students and another thing to Ruby Chow.
So
it's one of those.
And there we have another big story, of how when he quit Ruby Chow's, because
that was in the early 60s?
63.
63?
He went, in the summer of 63, he went back to Hong Kong. Actually, Ruby Chow and Ping Chow went to Hong Kong also. So they all went together. They all flew together to Hong Kong. So Bruce Lee's back in Hong Kong with the family. And when he went back to Hong Kong, I'm sure you have pictures. You probably could find him. He's with his suit and tie at the airport. And his brother has the camera taking pictures of him, Robert Lee, and that's why you see all these pictures.
Absolutely.
And Bruce looked successful, and he came and he gave his father a gift. He bought him a suit from America, and so he came with gifts, bearing gifts to his whole family, and they're also proud of him, because from the little troublemaker in Hong Kong, here we are 4 years later, 1963, and he's successful,
Successful, yeah.
And they're so proud of him because he's going to college. He's at the University of Washington.
That's right.
And which they thought would have been impossible, and so to them he came back like a success. And he's but he's still telling them, Dad, I'm still a busboy, living in that little room.
Exactly.
So he's back in Hong Kong. Servants gets whatever he wants, and everybody's amazed at his martial arts. That's another thing. That could be another story. You think he will get better in Hong Kong, but he gets better in America. He comes back to Hong Kong as a better martial artist. And that's the reason is because he's teaching.
Right.
And when you teach, you learn twice.
Yeah, sure.
So he comes back from Hong Kong, back to the same old room, back to the same Ruby Chow's, and here he is, mop the floor, wash the dishes after that Hong Kong experience in the summer. But James Lee called him and told him, Bruce, your book. I've got some money for you.
Oh, wow.
That's when he put out the first book, Philosophical Art of
He put it out in
Self-Defense.
63.
60.
But in 62, they were already
putting it together.
Yeah.
Printing it, yeah.
So by 63.
You guys have original copies.
Yeah, I want to see his
Yes.
copy. We're going to
Yes.
actually we're going to walk through his copy in a little while.
So you can imagine Bruce Lee on the phone and Ruby Chow's, and she's probably telling him, get off the phone. And
Yeah, go back to the dishes.
They must have been, he probably hung up. And he said, I got money now.
I don't need you.
He opened his luggage, packed it up, and left. Because he went to Doug Palmer, who was also in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
He called Doug Palmer and said, can I stay in your house for 2 weeks? Just 2 weeks.
It was, Doug Palmer was one of his first students, right?
Yes,
and
in
part of the
Seattle.
original groups in Seattle.
So Bruce must have left Ruby Chow's and told him, can I stay in your house? I quit. And 2 weeks later, he opened up the University Way School. Du Fan Kung Fu Institute. So to open up a storefront school, you need money.
Yeah.
And he had it so it was.
Richard, he opened up that school where in California, in LA, or
The first school?
yeah,
In Seattle.
in Seattle, right? Okay.
University Way, right next to the university.
Right. You took.
Yeah.
I think you posed
I've
for a
been
photo
there.
there.
Yeah, I've been there a few
right.
times.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, that's fantastic. So I asked this to Hector last time we interviewed, because I'm sure people are excited to see your collection right now. I still want to watch that Into the Dragon movie on your big screen, because Richard has an entire movie theater in his house where he watches all his Bruce Lee films. So we're going to watch the beginning of Into the Dragon a little later. So if Bruce was alive today, what do you think he would, how would his JKD evolve? What do you think he would have been doing up to this point, 45 years after his death? How do you think he would have developed himself?
I think he would have had two loves, the movie industry and martial arts. And I think the movie industry would have brought him the money. The martial arts would have been just for his own edification.
Yeah.
So I think he would have still been in the movie industry, maybe producing, directing,
Yeah,
making
Hector
movies,
said.
philosophical movies.
Yeah.
Because if you read some of the things that he wrote for future projects, they were all philosophical.
Yeah. I think he would have went that route as well.
So he would have made movies that had that philosophical theme that you could look at it at the surface and see all the action, and you can look at the meaning.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at Into the Dragon, everybody sees Into the Dragon, but they don't know there's hidden meanings inside Into the Dragon. You know, and Bruce added those things.
Yeah.
You know the praying mantis scene where John Saxon bets Bruce Lee.
Yeah, and the praying mantis.
I'll give you 5-1.
That's the scene.
And what do we see? We see what the praying mantis that John Saxon,
the bigger one,
betted on, is winning.
Yeah.
And the one that Bruce Lee betted on is on his back.
Yeah.
Apparently losing, yeah.
And then what do you see? The one on his back, he bites the leg of the one on top. Oh. Look at that again, and you'll see.
What we got here? A little action. Insect. Okay, I'll lay you $50 on the big one. $50 on the big one, all right?
I'll give you 5-1.
Would you bet 100? You're on. Come on, let's end this thing quickly. Who? Atta baby, come on, come on. We'll show these fellas. That's it, come on. Just get him on his back. Get him on his back. Come on. Come on, give up. Come on. Hey. Oh, for crying out loud. Would you believe that? Dumb shit.
That's everything Bruce always says, right? When you're in a situation like that, bite, right?
John Saxon saw that, and then when he fights Bolo, he does the
bites
same
the
exact
leg.
thing.
Yeah.
You're right.
Wow, there's a big connection there.
He
I never thought of
incorporates
that.
it.
There's a lot of
Wow,
stuff like
that's
that
fantastic,
in the
man.
movies that people don't catch.
That's a nice
A
little
lot of philosophical stuff.
tidbit there.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's also included in Longstreet.
Yes. Yes.
When he tells James Franciscan, what do? You bite.
Exactly.
You know, aren't we animals? You know, you bite. Hey, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
What is your instinct?
To pray.
In this position, your arms are useless.
Yeah.
Can you kick or stomp me?
No.
Then, if you wish to survive, what do you do?
I don't know.
Bite.
Bite.
Are we not animals? You all right?
I can't find much evidence to the contrary, Lee. Bite, huh?
Biting is efficient in close quarter, but don't make a plan of biting. That is a very good way to lose your teeth.
It's funny how he incorporated a lot of this philosophy in the movies.
Into
and
the
people don't
movies.
see that until
People
you
don't see
studied
it.
the
You have
art,
to
right?
study it.
And then you realize
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the philosophy that he incorporated into the
That's it.
movies. Yeah,
And
that was
look at it.
fantastic. So Bruce Lee had a lot of feats of strength, and I know Hector has a feat that I like to get on video because every time I'm with him, he does his thumb push-ups.
Oh,
He's all
man.
thumbs.
He's all thumbs, right?
Ah.
So can you show us a few of these thumb push-ups that you do?
You know,
And then we're going to end by getting in the on guard stance.
I mean, yeah, sure, why not?
Now, come on,
I'll do it.
give us a few of your thumb push-ups over here.
He's all thumbs.
Sounds good. I'm all thumbs, brother.
And this is because his mother used to make him carry the bags in the supermarket.
So show
That's a
us
fact.
this. I know Bruce
All
is
right.
famous for this.
Here we go for the audience. My thumb push-ups. And I need some pizza.
There he is.
On his thumbs. Amazing.
Wow.
That's fantastic, man. Good job there. Good job
Thank you,
there. Let's give them a little pose here. What should we do, Richard? Get us in our on guard position, man.
Right foot back.
Strong side forward.
Strong side forward.
Heel up.
Heel up. Guards up. Put your hand in front of you. Right there.
Oh yeah.
You bring the hand a little closer. There. And there we are.
Is that us? That's Bruce Lee's on guard position by Sifu Richard Torres. Thank you, man. That was fantastic. I appreciate this, man. I can't wait to see his collection. That's going to be on some future episodes. We're going to go through and look at his 3 different rooms. And you have a lot more to see with Richard Torres. Thank you guys for joining us.
All right.
That's pretty good, man.
There you go.
Wow. What did Bruce do? 2?
He did 2.
But did he do...
He started with 3, and then he did 2, and then he did the thumb.
Then he did the thumb.
No, he actually did 2 from one hand.
Right?
Yeah.
Didn't he do 2 one
But you
hand?
gotta remember, Bruce Lee was
135 pounds.
Bro, I'm 220.
Yeah.
But you start here with
220 on my
you start
thumbs.
here with the 3 fingers.
So then he worked his way backwards.
There you go.
Got ya.
And then you go 2 fingers, and then you
And then he did the 2 on one hand, right?
Right.
Wow, that's amazing.
He did.
But he was light.
Yeah, he was.
He did the
He
2.
wasn't 200 pounds like us.
He did these,
That's the 2.
and then of course he did the thumbs.
Wow, amazing.
But did he do the pinkies?
He did them for Linda.